What's up, y'all? Today we're going to be talking about the Laowa Nanomorphs. They are 1.5x anamorphic zoom lenses, 28 to 55 and 50 to 100. They're really, really cool, very fun. And if you haven't gotten your hands on some, I definitely recommend just trying it out. Go rent some lenses, test it out, no matter what field you're in. I've talked to people that are sports cinematographers that use anamorphic lenses and get it's a different feel. It feels different, it looks different. It's super cool, and if you haven't done it, you should check it out. Thank you to Laowa for sending these over so that I could try them out and test them. It's literally one of the first anamorphic lenses that I've gotten my hands on. I've done a little bit of very short, brief shooting with other anamorphic lenses, so I don't have too much to compare against, but I was able to kind of take these out over the holidays and test them out. Let's talk about the size, weight, and quality. These lenses are decently heavy. I've owned another set of zoom cinema lenses before, and I do feel like they were just a little bit heavier and felt constructed maybe similarly, honestly. Because they're zoom lenses, they are kind of large. If you like this and if you like your rig to be long and just kind of large on the larger side, these are cool. They're going to add weight to your rig. They are a bit heavy. It feels like maybe 2 to 3 pounds, if that, which is pretty heavy for a lens. I think one of the main pros that I identified with these lenses while using them is the functionality. Having a zoom anamorphic is incredible. I've used anamorphic primes, and the hard thing with it, as you know, with all prime lenses, is the fact that you have to switch lenses, and that can take time, especially when you have motors on and all these things going on. The lens swap could take a minute. If you're not on a crude set, that can take some time. What's great about these is that they do have zoom functionality. So you can get a 28, which is a little bit of a wider shot, all the way to a 50, which is your nice portrait, a little bit more of a medium shot, which is a good range, and you don't have to be swapping between a 28, a 35, and a 50. You can get all of those ranges in one. And then on the other, you go from 50 to 100. That gets you from your portrait all the way up to your more tight angles, your tight shots, your 85s, your 100s. So you can get your 50, your 75/85, and your 90/100 all in one lens. Other pros, the price point, again, these are budget lenses. I believe one lens is around $2,700. That is on the lower side, especially for being a zoom lens. So you could potentially pick up one or both of these and be set. You don't have to get anything else. If you were to get two of them, it's about $5K, which for a lens set that gets you the full range and to be anamorphic, that is an incredibly great price. Keep that in mind when we get into the cons. This lens set isn't priced super high, so you can't expect everything to be perfect. My cons aren't even really that bad in my opinion. One, I would say, is the build quality. While they are built well for budget lenses, I don't think it has the most premium feel to it. Again, I've used other anamorphic lenses and other higher end non-cine lenses, and I feel like you can tell once you feel that build structure and quality, you kind of know that you're in the premium area. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're looking at these lenses, the whole purpose is to be cost effective. So you're not looking for a perfectly built lens that's super heavy and all that. My other con is along the same lines. These lenses, when I put them on the camera, I didn't feel like it had the most dynamic looking image. It, for some reason, looked a little bit flat on the Pixis monitor and as well as my small HD. It didn't feel like it was picking up the contrast like I normally do on other lenses. I don't know exactly the science behind that. All I know is what I was seeing, and the image didn't feel quite as unique or artistic or crazy. Something about it didn't just scream at me. I wasn't oh my gosh, this looks amazing. It was still anamorphic. It was wide. It looked cool. It had some of those the flaring and the cool bokeh that you get from anamorphic lenses. But those were my cons. But again, it's a budget lens, so those cons kind of have to be taken with a grain of salt because you're not going to get an extremely perfect lens set when you're looking for budget lenses. One more con is the size. And again, that's what you're going to get with the zoom lens. This isn't much bigger than what a zoom lens is. I've had the DZOs, the Pictor zooms. They're about the same size. If you do the Cata Aces, they're about the same size. Now they can get bigger, But again, if you don't love to have like a really big rig that's just like, you know, really long, these might not be for you. But I'll show you real quick what it looks like on the Pixis. All right, so there it is. You can kind of see this is a bulky build. Pretty heavy, honestly. The balance is good again because the Pixis is such a great style camera from Blackmagic that can kind of balance the weight well, but it's incredibly large, guys. Like that's a big rig. That's the pros and the cons. And now let's talk about who this lens is for. First, I'll say who it's not for. I think this lens isn't for seasoned filmmakers with a ton of experience, with access to high level budgets and a lot of money for rentals or owning your own equipment. I don't think it's for those type of people. I think this lens set, this lens series is for entry level filmmakers or people who are just starting to dip their feet into the anamorphic world and want something that's not going to break the bank, but get you that anamorphic look and like quality that you can use in your films. I wouldn't recommend just owning anamorphic lenses only, but if you're getting to that specialty level and not quite like I'm ready to spend $10,000 per lens on something, these are great to get you started in the anamorphic world. And they're not paying me to say that. This is not sponsored or it's not like paid or anything like that. They literally just sent me these just so I can try them out. So this is an honest review. I don't think they're bad, but I don't think they're for the like highest level of filmmakers. It might be great to go solo with these if you're doing some type of run and gun thing with a small crew and you only want to maybe use one of them and you don't have to do any swapping. That's fine. Like if you know you're going to be able to hit everything you need with the 28 to 55, that actually might be useful because then you can run one lens, no lens swaps, and you can just run around and reframe, do whatever you need with just one set of lenses. That's it for this video. Very short and sweet. Just wanted to talk about these Laowa Nanomorphs. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. I'm gonna have them like linked somewhere in my bio, in the description of this video. I don't get paid anything for you going to check them out. Again, I just wanna give a huge thank you to Laowa for letting me test these lenses out. Look forward to way more lens and gear reviews in 2026. I'm excited to just be able to get my hands on things, try things out. That's the only way you can learn and get better is to get your hands on things, see what they're like, and continue to explore. See you on the next one. Peace.